guys. Today we are in the garden headquarters. I felt inspired to make this video because the other day when I was on the phone with my brother, we were talking about fasting. Fasting is a spiritual practice where you abstain from eating or drinking. There's various ways that you can go about doing a fast. You can do the Daniel fast, which is you only eat fruits and vegetables. You can do a water fast where you only drink liquids. You can do an all fast where you're not eating or drinking anything. It's really up to you, right? You would have to use your own discretion and know your body and maybe even consult your doctor to know what your body is capable of doing. Fasting is such a powerful spiritual practice because when you fast, you're giving up something that is worldly, right? Something that connects us here to the world. When we eat food, we are indulging in something obviously necessary, definitely, and enjoyment, right? We usually get enjoyment out of our food, and so when we're sacrificing something like that to God, He receives that aroma in heaven, and He sees what you're doing, and He loves what you're doing because He sees that's your way of saying, I want to connect more with you, God. While you are fasting, it is important to stay in prayer, to read His Word, to listen to worship music, right? It's not just about abstaining from eating and then that's it. Abstaining from eating is something hard, right? It's not something that everyone is capable of doing. When you're in it, you're connecting more to even yourself. If there's any unhealed wounds, unhealed traumas, unhealed emotions that maybe you've been using food to escape, when you are not eating, those feelings, those emotions, they're gonna come up, right? And you're gonna have to deal with them. Or maybe thoughts, right? The mind is a powerful thing, so there are times where our minds will start to kind of work against us. Body's like, why aren't you feeding me? Give me food, right? The body wants food. And so you might start experiencing thoughts that are outside of what you're normally used to. So it is a very powerful tool to put you in control over your body, to submit yourself to a discipline that is not easy. Recently I was talking to a friend and I had asked them, hey, do you partake in fasting? Like, do you ever feel called to fast? And they immediately went to health reasons. And they said, oh, like, no, I've never fasted before. Are you interested in fasting for health purposes? And this is someone that is familiar with godly things and wants to learn so much more. It made me realize that maybe there's a lot of people in the world that don't know about fasting. It can be the catalyst for people healing diseases and healing their, oh my honey, I love your eyes, I love them. Fasting is scientifically proven to be beneficial, and not to everyone, right? But for most people. So the other day when I was on the phone with my brother, we were talking about fasting, and he had brought to my attention that he recently had done a fast and he had breakthrough, right? Something he had been praying for a long time. When God calls me to fast over a situation or a struggle or anything, I fast. Definitely always be in touch with your body, listen to your body. Like, God sees the sacrifice that you're making, right? But it's not for you to harm yourself. It's to get closer to God. The verse in the Bible that speaks on fasting and prayer, and Jesus saying that there are certain things that can only be cast out through fasting and prayer. That verse has been removed from the New Testament, and I was shocked. It's in the King James Version still. And thankfully, I've known about fasting since I was very young, but there are new people coming to the faith, new people getting to know God. NIV version is the version most people go to because it's the one that is most understood, right? The King James Version is dialect that we're not very privy to. There's a lot of words in that dialect that we would maybe have to look up, and it would take longer to understand the context of the message because there's so many words in there that may not make sense to the average reader. So we see here in Matthew chapter 17, verse 19, it says, then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, why couldn't we drive it out? And they're referring to demons. So there was a little boy that was possessed by a demon, and when the disciples tried to drive it out, they couldn't. they couldn't drive out that demon. And Jesus came to the little boy and was able to drive out the demon. The disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" Verse 20, he replied, "Because you have so little faith. I tell you the truth, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." And verse 21 is not here. It just skips to verse 22, and it says, "When they came together in Galilee, he said to them, 'The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of men. They will kill him, and on the third day he will be raised to life.' And the disciples were filled with grief." And that filled me with grief, because I was like, Jesus is saying that certain demons, right? And demons can manifest in various ways. In this situation, the little boy was struggling with seizures. Jesus is telling his disciples, some things can only be cast out with fasting and prayer. So why is it that is removed from the New Testament? It just makes me question, right? And I'm making this video not to criticize the reasons for them removing that scripture. It's more so just to educate and let you know that fasting is essential to any Christian life. And if you're following God and you're struggling with something and you've been praying over it for years and years and years and nothing is changing in that area of your life, I challenge you to take on fasting. However you're comfortable with it. You can fast maybe just one meal. You can do a fast from morning to night. You can do just a couple of hours, just whatever you're most comfortable with. I know God will recognize it. That's why I wanted to make this video, just to let you know that fasting exists. Fasting is a spiritual practice, and it connects you to heaven. It connects you to God. There have been times when I've done fasts, and it was such a struggle to get through it. It is such a hard practice. It's not something easy or small, but the things that it'll liberate you from, the strength that will be built within your character, and your ability to create that mental fortitude will pour into every area of your life. There's an area of your life that's lacking discipline, lacking understanding, that's lacking accountability. By practicing fasting, it will change you from within, and it'll connect you more and more with God, so that the power within you is no longer your own, but of God. And so when you show up into the world, you're not showing up as a mere human, as a mere person. You're showing up as a child of God, as a child of the Most High, as a child of the Creator of the heavens and the earth. And people see that in you. When they see you, they recognize it. They may not understand it, but they notice. You have to walk this earth being recognized for who you are and what you are. You have to respect people's curiosity, because ultimately you just point them back to God.